friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be me talking about the books that I plan to read in January, and I gave myself a fairly easy TBR. You know, it's 2021, I'm planning on making a couple of changes, not so much to my channel, but just in my personal life. So I was like, we're going to take it easy. We're gonna take it easy. And by changes to my personal life, I mean just a lot more like me trying to write. I'll share about it in a writing vlog that I have to update you guys with. That's beside the point. So yeah, let's get into it. I chose 5 or 6 books. We all know I can't count. So let's get into it before you guys watch me count. The first book I've already started because it is now January 4th when I am filming this, and that is Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was a book that Andrew got me for Christmas, so thank you very much, my sweet little Andrew. And I'm about a quarter of the way, I'd like to say, through the book. This follows Elsie Porter, who has been recently married. She got married probably 10 days ago to her husband, and they've been together for 6 months. It's very whirlwind, very much I met you and I know you're the love of my life. They got married 6 months after, and then after a week of them being officially married, Ben goes to get cereal from a convenience store and uses his bicycle and ends up getting hit by a car and dies upon impact. There, Elsie meets Ben's mother, her mother-in-law, who has no knowledge she ever existed and wants nothing to do with Ben, the funeral, and Elsie. So Elsie now has to kind of traverse through this very tense relationship while also dealing with the fact that she lost her husband. Now, clear trigger warning for this: spouse death. It's like I said, I'm about a little over 100 pages with this. I'm hoping to finish it kind of soon. Again, it's a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. They read pretty quickly as long as I sit down and force myself to really just kind of get into it and read it. Like I said, I've only a couple hundred pages into this book, and it's really kind of heartbreaking thus far. For the moment, we are seeing Elsie kind of try to traverse through the situation, try to meet her mother-in-law and come to an understanding, as well as seeing how her and Ben's relationship has played out up until, his untimely death. And it's just heartbreaking and unfortunate to me. Ben is a very sweet kind of person. The things he says reminds me of my own partner. So I just kind of sit here and have to take a couple moments. Because it's a very difficult position, I think, for anyone to be in, to marry the love of your life and then have them die. But I'm really interested in how this is going to go and how kind of this relationship between these two unlikely characters are going to form, and why Ben decided not to involve his mother in his love life. The next book is a thriller that I bought a while ago, and that is Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. I read Girl on the Train by her a few years ago, I think in the early stages of my booktube career, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to pick up Into the Water, and I genuinely have no idea. What I can remember, it's about these girls who end up dead in a river, and now the reporter has to come in and find out exactly what had happened. You know, the usual kind of murder mystery thriller element to it, violence toward women, another woman with some kind of traumatic past comes in to figure out what happened, la-di-da-di-da. So I'm excited to get into it. I love me a good thriller, and I love Paula Hawkins' Girl on the Train, so I want to see exactly how this pans out and what exactly the big mystery is and who did it. I've had this on my TBR for a couple times now, so I'm hoping it doesn't let me down. But we will find out eventually how I feel about this book, because, that's just life for me. The next book is one that I had on my TBR for... No, it wasn't on there for last month. But that is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is Angie Thomas's sophomore novel, following Brie, who wants to be the best rapper ever, taking after the footsteps of her father, who was an up-and-coming underground rapper until his death. Now that the bills are starting to pile up and they need more money, Brie realizes she kind of has to make it really fast and really quickly in order for them to continue living, I think, in their home. That's what I remember. Yes, there's an eviction notice. I really love The Hate You Give. I read that a while when it first came out, I believed, and I absolutely fell in love with the heartbreaking story that it explained and the message that ultimately people still are refusing to receive. So I'm excited to see what else Angie Thomas has come up with. I don't remember the reviews on this. I think it was a little bit mixed, but I could be wrong. It has been a while since this book has come out, and it has been a while since I've heard people talk about it, but I believe My friend Lisa, who is very sweet in her reviews and whose opinion I trust, really enjoyed this book, so I'm excited to get into it. When that is, I'm hoping in January, because again, this is another book that has been on my TBR for a hot minute, and I need to read it. Really giving myself like young Bellatrix vibes here, which I don't know how to feel about, but also Homegirl was a product of like inbreeding and was groomed by Tom Riddle for when she was 14. So like, I mean, I'm sure she was hot at some point. The next book is part of my kind of 2021 resolution, which I will talk about a bit more in an upcoming video sometime, and that is to finish handfuls of series that I have yet to finish. And one of the books that is fortunately going to be on this list, but unfortunately I have not yet finished, is Escaping from Houdini by Kerri Maniscalco. This is the third book to the Stalking Jack the Ripper quartet, following Audrey Rose as she kind of travels from, I think, Europe to America. If you guys don't know what Stalking Jack the Ripper is about, it's about Audrey Rose, and it's set in Victorian London, at least the first book is. And when Jack the Ripper starts his killings, Audrey is determined to find out who exactly did it, even despite the fact that people are telling her no because she is in fact a woman in Victorian era London. I really enjoyed the series thus far. Like, the love interest is just absolutely like amazing. I love Thomas Cresswell, he's great. I love Audrey Rose and kind of the way that she stands up for herself in this very, not so much anti-feminine, but not accepting of femininity in some aspects of the world, while also remaining pretty feminine herself, which I think is like something that I want to see more in YA. Like heroines, I want to see them be badass and like not take no for an answer and like get shit done, but then also retain this form of femininity and like love for dresses and like all that stuff. So I'm excited to see what happens here. I've been meaning to finish the series for a hot minute, but with every time I hear like a review on it, somehow it's like mixed reviews. You either love it or you just didn't like it that much because of the love story. So I'm very hesitant to pick it up, but I mean, I absolutely adore Thomas Cresswell, so I don't know why I would not be invested in this love story. So yeah. The next book on my list is one that you guys have seen in a TBR before, and that is With Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is her sophomore novel and not her most recent work, which is Clap When You Land. As you guys know, Elizabeth Acevedo is one of my favorite people, favorite writers of all time. I love her verse work, so I want to see how she writes in prose, and I've been really hesitant to pick it up because it is written in prose. This is a YA contemporary novel. I have heard rumors that there is like magical realism in this, but I could be very wrong. I haven't heard a ton of reviews on this after it came out. But this follows a young teen mother who wants to go to culinary school, and you know, she's trying to figure out how she can possibly do that while having a small child. And thankfully her mother has been willing to help her out in that endeavor. So I'm excited to pick this up. This was the only book I did not get to in December. So I'm really hoping that I get a chance to pick this up in January, which I'm going to make time for, and hopefully I'm going to love it just the same way that I love her previous books, which are like top tier. And I highly recommend Elizabeth Acevedo if you have not seen her as an author just quite yet. And finally, this is the last book on my TBR. It is also a buddy read and another Christmas present, so thank you, Lisa, for buying this. This is a buddy read with my friend Sarah, and I'm hoping that Sarah and I have better luck this time. And this is Where Dreams Ascend by Janella Angeles. This is a YA high fantasy novel, and by the looks of it, it's like very circusy, and I'm all here. Y'all know I love the Night Circus. Carnival was okay. You know, I DNF'd the entire series, just was not the biggest fan of it by the end, so I was just like, probably don't need it. But I'm really excited to get into this. This is another part of my New Year's resolution, which is to read more Filipino authors. Janella is a Filipino author who recently got published in 2020. So I'm super excited to start this off, and I've heard such good things. I think I've heard a couple of good things about it, and I'm really hoping that Sarah and I love it, because if not, then this will have been our third book in a row that neither one of us have liked. Which, I mean, is funny when you think about it, because then that means like I feel like Sarah and I have very, like, we have good reading tastes. We really do, like, individually, and then somehow collectively they just don't work out. So I'm really hoping that this is like the one thing that works out, because this is like one of my anticipated reads for 2020, and also just like it just sounds so good. So maybe we just need to stop reading. No, because the last one was YA too. I'm really hoping this works. But that is it for my TBR for January. I'm hoping I get through all these books. Thankfully, I threw in a mix of like easier reads. Most of them seem to be pretty easy reads, with probably the exception of like Where Dreams Descend, because high fantasy, and probably Into the Water because it is a thriller and like more brain power. But we will see. So in the comments below, please let me know what you guys are thinking. If these are on your TBRs and you want me to prioritize it like in this month, or if you guys have read them and what your like rough thoughts on them are, or other books you want me to read in the future. Until next time, hit like, subscribe, comment. All my links will be linked down below, as well as the links to the books if you want to check out actual synopses, because there's like, I think I didn't give one for Where Dreams Descend just because I don't know a lot about it, and quite frankly, I feel like it's one of those books that you can't know a ton about it, so I'm gonna just take it for right now. But yeah, so until next time, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!